Shalom, and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is a recording of a Shabbat sermon with Rabbi Rebecca Schatz.
The primary reason to have a mikdash, a place of holiness, is for God to dwell amongst the people. A mekadesh, a place from holiness or for holiness. Kadosh, separate, distinct, designated, intentional. God dwells in this space after human hands have built it, and only once human beings are inside it. So without the people, is there holiness? Without gathering of community, without people within the walls of this designated space, does holiness exist? In Parshat Truma last week, we focused on the building of this holy dwelling. And in Parshat Tetzaveh this week, we focus on the garments and holy accoutrement of the priests. We move from location and building to people and duty. And today, we read a section from Devarim for Shabbat Zakhor to remember how we, as a people, together in community, have faced some wonderful successes and also hurtful tragedies. Tragedies that shaped us and should be remembered to never be forgotten. Earlier this week, while reading through Parshiot of how to contain and create and model holiness, we heard terrifying news that could ruin access to holy spaces for every person intrigued by prayer at the Kotel. As my friend and colleague, Rabbi Kayla Labelle at Hadar said, Jews have always known how to make ordinary spaces sacred. Our task is to help Jews experience holiness wherever they gather. The Kotel does not belong to any one person. The Kotel is a holy site made holier by the prayer, gathering, healing, tears, awe, and wonder that someone experiences by visiting this ancient site. And this week, this holy place was desecrated, turning the argument from Kodesh to Chol, using the words of Hadalah from Or to Choshech, a holy site that is the remaining artifact of a gathering place for all Jews, brought into the news by those who feel they alone hold onto the definition of holy. We know from our Torah that the Mikdash was a place for all people, and that all God was interested in was connection, gathering, and relationship building. Vaikhuli truma, that every person should bring something to God to lift up as a gift and show their dedication to the holy place. Every person who is so moved, not just those who keep Shabbat a certain way, or dress a certain way, or speak a certain language, or eat a certain way, every person, no matter their gender, their age, their religious connection, or even their piety, a person just had to feel moved. And that is still the beauty of the Kotel. Anyone is welcome, at least for now, to pray anything they want, to do Jewish any way that feels comfortable to them, to hold onto the wall of their heritage and feel something pulse through them that hits their hearts in a way that is unspoken but brings tears to their eyes. The Rabbinical Assembly sent out this call earlier this week to our conservative movement. This morning, the Knesset advanced legislation that strikes at the heart of the Jewish unity and religious pluralism. The bill would transfer authority over all prayer at the Kotel to the ultra-Orthodox chief rabbinate, criminalize religious services that do not conform to its standards, and effectively dismantle the egalitarian Kotel. If enacted, millions of Israeli and diaspora Jews would lose meaningful access to worship at Judaism's holiest site. This legislation is not yet law. Several additional steps remain, and we are working intensely to stop it. But this vote marks a dangerous escalation and is a clear warning. The conservative or Masorti movement has stood with Israel for generations, and especially since October 7th. We have answered the Prime Minister's call to fight for Israel's future. Now we must insist that Israel stand for us and for the religious freedom of all Jews. According to the Times of Israel, lawmakers voted 56-47 Wednesday afternoon in favor of the preliminary reading of a bill giving the chief rabbinate full control over prayer at all parts of the Western Wall, drawing harsh condemnation from progressive Jewish groups which condemn the controversial legislation as patronizing and anti-Semitic. What does this bill mean for us? It means that if Temple Beth Am or Pressman Academy or the JLC wanted to take a group of people to the Kotel and have a service that looks like a spiritual davening experience we would have in this building, we could be punished. We could be punished for gathering to create and sustain holiness. It means that women who want to read Torah at the Kotel, whether on the women's side of the Mechitza or at Robinson's Arch, could be jailed for doing so. Quote, the bill allows for up to 7 years in prison for desecrating the site, which is defined as conducting religious services such as mixed gender prayer or women reading from the Torah that do not conform to the Orthodox chief rabbinate's standards. I want to be extremely clear. This is not a fight against orthodoxy, nor against different denominational or cultural practices of Judaism. Jews have enough enemies outside our collective family. We do not also need an internal war. However, this is a fight against a form of what I believe to be a type of anti-Semitism. If anti-Semitism is defined as hostility or prejudice against Jewish people, that is definitionally what this is. A woman praying at the Kotel, whether in a long skirt with her hair covered or with a talit and tefillin on, no one's getting hurt. One might choose to be offended or confused by that practice, but no one's being harmed by her behavior. By bringing a group of egalitarian young people to a part of the Kotel without a mechitza to celebrate B'nai Mitzvah or Jewish holiday, no one is getting hurt. There is only joy and love being shared through rituals and connections that some feel close to and others may not understand. Where there is harm is when people are being shoved or spat on or kicked or attacked by water bottles or arrested because their Judaism does not look the same as those who believe they deserve control. Not only is that unnecessary in a world where so many people outside our own hate us, but it is pure anti-Semitism that we will not tolerate. We would not tolerate this if someone non-Jewish was persecuting us this way. This is not a fight against friends or colleagues or members of this community who call themselves Orthodox. We love you and respect you, and we celebrate your Judaism alongside ours. This is a fight against those in power in Israel who are promoting anti-Semitism and destroying our modern-day mikdashim. A former teacher and colleague, Rabbi Shmuley Yanklowitz, wrote in a Facebook post late Thursday night, I'm not a Reformed Jew. I'm not conservative, renewal, reconstructionist, or halachic egal. I'm a pluralist rooted in Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim Chaim. And I respect those groups and partner deeply with them. But personally, he said, am rooted in modern Orthodoxy. I pray at the Kotel comfortably on the men's side, and at a time when there are so many attacks on Jews from the outside, we dare not exclude and hurt each other from the inside. Be of the disciples of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace. We need to foster a democratic, inclusive state that values religious freedom and diversity for all Jews and for all other faiths. He says, I call upon Orthodox rabbinic colleagues and friends in Israel to raise a voice of conscience to Knesset members and to their communities, to ensure Jews in the diaspora are shown respect and fully welcomed to practice Judaism as they understand it. Rabbi Yanklowitz is calling out and reminding us that we all have access to our holy spaces. And maybe even more importantly than access, we all have a responsibility to gather at those holy spaces to maintain their Kedusha. The first time I went to the Kotel, I was 18. I walked towards the wall with my mom, and she kept saying, just go and touch the wall. I was hesitant and probably just a bit overwhelmed, but I pushed my way in, and I touched the stones, and for whatever reason, I immediately started to cry. I have now visited the Kotel and prayed at the Kotel many times. I have gone there to pray for healing, for matters in my own life that I wish guidance around or change. I've gone just to be surrounded by other women wailing or singing or children praying, etc. To be in a place where praying or just sitting and being is all you need to do to feel connection. because like the Mikdash, the community together creates the holiness. In the most recent trips I have taken to Israel, I have been with a group of adults through Honeymoon Israel. We have gone all around the country, and one of the most profound parts of the journey is at the Kotel. However, in order to have a moment together, we go to Robinson's Arch. And because my Judaism is deeply rooted in egalitarianism, it almost surprised me that I was able to ask the couples to touch the wall together. In this parsha, we read that Aaron enters into the holiest of spaces in the Mikdash, wearing a breastpiece that also has all the names of the 12 tribes of Bnei Israel on his heart. Aaron is walking into the holiest of places, carrying with him legacy, memory, family, and community. The holy garments in this week's parsha are not just fashion statements. They are reminders that we are the creators of holiness in order for God to join in it with us. And if we do not show up, or if we are not invited in, there is nothing holy about a wall. Rabbi Ami Reet Rosen wrote in the Rabbinical Assembly's Torah for this hour the following: the book of Esther turns fate into destiny. The poor, the cast lot, along with powerful focus, influences our lives. There is so much of which we have no control. What will be, we do not know. The Megillah opens with the silencing of women and continues with a decree against all Jews. There is no revelation in the book of Esther. God is revealed through Esther's choice to make her fate into destiny and to make her voice heard. That is when God's presence in our world is revealed. We are about to celebrate Purim, and we have the words and reminder of Zakhor on our lips and our hearts. We must each understand this time as a time of fighting for holiness, fighting for the opportunity to celebrate bat mitzvahs like Livia's in all places, not just Temple Beth Am, but anywhere we choose. Fighting for revelation of making our fate of living as Bnei Israel, the people of Israel, together our destiny. Make your voice heard. Sign the petition to show the Israeli government that this is not okay, that we will not stand for this discrimination, that we will not allow our holy spaces to be desecrated and taken from kadosh to chol. We must all be Mordechai and Esther, not only on Purim, but right now. We must stand up for our people. We must hold on to our community. And we must continue to build places of Kedusha where God can dwell and allow the people, the family of Jews, to once again connect and create true holiness. Ve'asuli mikdash ve'shachanti betocham. May we find a way to dwell once again in spaces that we hold dear to us as holy. And may our brothers and sisters find ways to recognize that holiness is in the people around us, not the stones in front of us. Only then will the Kotel continue to be holy, when we can all reestablish the holiness of a mikdash, accepting one another.
You've been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast website or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information on Temple Beth Am, Los Angeles, please visit www.tbala.org.